Welcome, everybody. We're so glad you guys are here. Thank you for joining our Future for Frontliners event today. I recognize some of the names on here that's popping up. I'm like, oh, I've emailed her. I've talked to him. So thank you guys for coming. We'll just give it a couple more seconds to let some others join and then we will get started. All right. Well, I am Stephanie Briggs. I am the Director of Admissions for Muskegon Community College. I've probably talked to many of you about Future for Frontliners. So thank you so much for joining us this evening so that we can kind of let you know what your next steps are. We can answer questions about financial aid, payment plans, admission steps, bookstore, whatever kind of questions you have. We're going to just let you all drive this conversation. So don't be shy. Feel free to unmute yourselves, ask questions, or you can write them in the chat. For those of you that are watching on Facebook Live, please put it in the comment section what questions you have, and we will be able to answer those questions for you today. This event is specifically for you. You guys have all been approved for the Future for Frontliners, so congratulations. That is a huge program, and so we are excited to have you become Jayhawks. And so I'm going to open it up to Jamar Ragland. He's going to give you a little bit more information about the program, and then we'll open it up for you all to start answering your questions.
You, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. I am Jay Ragland. Um, Transitioning out of my current role a little bit, but still one of the liaisons for the Future for Frontliners program. I'm just going to share a brief overview. Hopefully, it'll clear up some questions you all may have. And if not, if you still have further questions, we have a whole team here to help guide and answer those questions. So, long story short, I'm going to break this up into three different sections. What makes you eligible? What does it do? How do you get it or find out if you are eligible? I'm going to assume that everyone on this call is eligible. However, I'm going to operate as though some of you are not with that section. So, what makes you eligible? If you are unfamiliar with it, Governor Gretchen Whitmer rolled this out as a thank you to those on the front line. So I just want to say thank you for the work that you did in keeping our economy afloat, our state afloat through these rough times. So thank you once again. Is essentially for those, like I said, who worked through the pandemic in a variety of occupations. The list goes on, but some of those are if you were a first responder, you worked in transportation, grocery stores, stocking, servicing customers, things of that nature. So moving right along, you must have completed high school. So obtain your high school diploma or GED. You cannot have an associate's degree or higher, right? So you can have attended college before, but you cannot have achieved an associate's degree or higher. You can, however, have achieved a certificate. Okay. So, quick distinction between that two. Now, if you have attended college before, you cannot be on in default on your student loans. That's another component. What makes you eligible? You must be a Michigan resident. Okay. So, those are just some of the key things that makes you eligible for this scholarship. What does it do? It simply will pay for your tuition and mandatory fees at the in-county rate. Okay. Now, when I say that, you may be wondering, hey, I do not live in Muskegon County. Can I still get it? The answer is yes, you can still receive it. However, it will only cover your tuition and mandatory fees at the in-county rate, which means you will have to pay the difference between the two. Okay. So moving right along, how do you get it? Of course, there's an application that comes along with it. That application is found at the state's website, michigan.gov/frontliners. Um, you will list some personal information. You will indicate, I'm pretty sure, the best community college in the state of Michigan, that in Muskegon Community College. From there, we will get it. Now, it takes on average about 5 to 7 days to find out if you're eligible. There's been a little bit of a backlog when you get selected, not for verification, but they want to make sure that all your paperwork is good. And so the state is kind of backed up. So if you're wondering, hey, it's been more than 5 to 7 days, what's going on? Please know that the state is working diligently, but they are a little backed up. They have extended the deadline for that paperwork to February 1st. But I just wanted to give you that heads up. I do want to say this, MCC, we are not the ones that determine your eligibility. That is solely at the state. They are the ones that determine your eligibility. We've been getting a few questions about inquiring about the application status. You can check your application status. Amber, would you mind muting yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm driving. I'm so sorry.
I hear you. Be safe while you're driving, please. Thank you for tuning in. So you can check your application status at that same site where you submitted your application. Okay. There's a check status button. You just click that and then log into your portal and you can see what's going on where you're at. You do need to complete the FAFSA. So everything that comes along with it, if you get selected for verification with that, you'll need to submit your forms, et cetera, et cetera. And then you must enroll in at least 6 credits in each semester that you attend. Now, you do need to start in either the winter semester, which starts in January, the summer semester that starts in May 17th, or the fall semester that starts in late August. So a heads up on that. Then the last thing I want to say, there is a deadline for the scholarship, December 31st of this year. So if you have not applied yet for that, you need to do so ASAP. We've been told that the application will cut off at midnight that day. And plus, you already got your New Year's activities going on, so you don't want to be filling out that application after you've had a couple pops, okay? So that's it with my brief overview. I'll turn it over, Stephanie. I don't know where we're going with this one.
Thank you, Jamar. We have a couple of questions. So Janelle wants to know, do they pay for your books? Jamar, do you want to answer that?
Absolutely. So absolutely not. They make sure we're understood. So Future for Frontliners does not cover books. It only covers your tuition and mandatory fees at the in-county rate.
Thank you, Jamar. And I think that's a good segue for Kim. Kim, I think you are on here to talk about the bookstore and what the options are for students because textbooks are not covered under Future for Frontliners. So what can students do to make sure they're still getting a great deal on their textbooks?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to MCC. So we'll take a few minutes and talk about the textbooks. A couple of things you should know is we do rent textbooks, which is quite a cost savings to the students. It can be anywhere between 50, 60, 70% off the cost of new. We also do digital books. We highly encourage if you are going to be online to go ahead and get digital books as well. And we do price match. We price match against Amazon. So we do price match as well. Our best program is to rent though. So we do highly encourage rent your textbook with us. And also we do encourage that you go ahead, go to your MyMCC page, link over to the bookstore tile and get your books ordered right after you register for your classes. The reason we say that is we all know UPS and other shipping companies are a little bit slower than they have been in the past. And just to ensure that you do have your textbook on day one, we do encourage that you do that as soon as possible. If you have any questions on how to navigate our website, how the rental program works, we highly encourage that you send an email over to the bookstore or give us a call and we can send you a video or we can walk through with you step by step on how that works.
Thanks, Kim. Can you put your contact information in the chat and we'll throw it into Facebook as well too, so students will have it?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Our next question is about financial aid. So Bruce or Jody, they want to know, will I still be eligible for the Future for Frontliners if I was not in good standing with my financial aid?
That's a good question. It's called Satisfactory Academic Progress, or SAP. Students that are in violation of the SAP rules, if you've attended MCC before, there's a couple things you should do. First of all, you want to talk to an academic counselor. Make sure that you're picking correct courses for the upcoming semester. You can also do a financial aid academic plan, and that will spell out exactly what classes that you need to do. With that plan, you can submit an appeal to the financial aid office, and we'll review it and take a look and see if we can put you on a probation type status. Now, students that never been to MCC before, you still have to make sure that you are making SAP. Oh, it's my internet bad. So that's still good?
It's better
my
now.
connection was bad.
Yep, you're better now.
It's better? Okay. So students have to maintain SAP while they're attending. That means that you have to have a 2.0 grade point average or C average. You have to complete 2/3 of your classes that you attend. So if you sign up for, say, 12 credit hours, you've got to complete at least 8 credit hours. And then there's what they call maximum time frame. So you have only so many credit hours that you can attempt before you get your degree. So, yes, you can get Futures for Frontliners if you're currently on SAP. The main condition for that would be you have to maintain a 2.0 every semester that you're attending. So it's important, if you feel like you're struggling in a class, to get tutoring. Make sure you talk to an academic counselor. Because if you do fall below a 2.0 and you're on standards academic progress, you will lose that particular scholarship forever, and there's no appealing it.
Thank you, Bruce, so much. And we'll still touch on financial aid. So if you guys have more questions or need more clarification, please definitely let us know. Caitlin has a question about her financial aid. She said that she wants to get into a program and she has financial aid right now, but she's wondering if Future for Frontliners will be on her account and she can use it whenever she needs to, or does she has to reapply when she gets into her program? So I'm assuming you're talking about the nursing program, I would imagine. In the Future for Frontliners, you have a 4-year span to use the scholarship. So if you start in the winter, you have 4 years to use it at that point. So whether you're in the health services program right now, and then you switch over to the nursing program, that scholarship will be available for you as long as you're taking 6 credit hours a semester and you're still within that 4-year time frame. I hope that answered your question. If not, let me know, Caitlin.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing? So I know my spelling ain't the greatest, so but anyways, I know I talked to you guys before about the FAFSA part where my parents had refused to do some parts of it. But now they're separated due to some issues. Not legally divorced, but they're refusing to fill out the financial part of it.
Okay,
So how would that go?
So I think the best thing would be to talk with financial aid. So talk to Bruce or Jody, and they can kind of give you a better way to navigate this situation. Bruce, I don't know if you want to chime in and kind of give them some information now or talk off.
Yeah, Jody's in charge of what we call professional judgments, and maybe she can speak to that a little bit and maybe a route to go. Jody out there?
Mike, what we'll do is we'll put Jody's information in her email out there. Oh, she's just coming back in right now. She must have got kicked out and she's back. She's coming back.
Stephanie.
So Mike, we'll put Jody's information in there so that you can reach out to her and she can kind of give you some specific information on that professional judgment. Okay. Thank you. Someone else had a question. We're starting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So hi, this is Sam. I did get the postcard that I'm in the program, and I did call the financial aid office at MCC the other day. They did say that they had some something showing in their records for me. But my question for you is do I need to pay my MCC bill right now, or should I wait to see what's left over after whatever scholarship I get applied to my bill?
Great question. Thank you, Sam. Mike, do you want to kind of chime in and talk about payment plans and?
Because I don't want to have my classes dropped.
Yep.
Right. So if I'm Mike Council, by the way, I'm the financial services manager here at MCC. So if you've been awarded Future for Frontliners scholarship, that does show up in your account as a restricted award. And what that means is that it's not applied until after our census date, which is basically the expiration of our add and drop date. So it will show that you still have a balance there. As Jamar mentioned, there are certain fees, and if you're out of district, you will have a balance there. You can always set up a payment plan to cover that. What happens with that payment plan is that because you would have that restricted award on your account, that's going to defer your first payment until well after our census date. So that gives us time to adjust your account before any payments are made. So if you're in a situation where you end up where other aid and Frontliners covers everything, that will zero out that payment plan and no payments will be made. So it's really good sort of insurance policy, for lack of a better word, to go ahead and set up a payment plan if it looks like, given the information you're receiving here, that you may have some balance there. You can certainly make payments in the meantime, but you wouldn't be required to make any payments until February 20th if you're engaged in a payment plan.
Thank you. And one other real quick question. Do I need to reapply to this Future for Frontliners program with each year, or merely just add MCC to my FAFSA application?
Jamar, do you want to take that one?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I think if I heard it correctly, I was kind of typing at the same time. Someone in the chat. Do you have to reapply?
Yeah,
scholarship each year
for Futures program, or just make sure that you're putting down MCC in your FAFSA application, because I'm dual enrolled at Grand Valley and MCC.
Well, that one is a unique situation. And unique in terms of you being dual enrolled at two institutions at the same time. So anywho, no, you don't have to apply for it each year. You submitted your application. We have you in the system logged. So you're good on that end.
Let me jump in here a second. Are you an RT student with Grand Valley?
Yes, I am.
Okay. With the RT program, the F4F people in Lansing are looking at that program right now. So we should get an update on that program here probably next week from them, because it's such a unique program. It's normally consortium students are not eligible for this. We've got some students from Michigan State that earn a certificate and then go on for an associate's degree here. Those students are not eligible for this program. The RT program is a little different than that. It's not really a consortium student program. So we're going to get an answer on that and check back with us probably next week, Wednesday. We should have more information.
Okay, thanks. Like I said, I did get the email. I did get a postcard saying that I wasn't in the program, I was accepted. So hopefully maybe that's indicative of what the state's going to.
Yeah, one thing about this program, it's so new that they're just making up the rules on the go. So we're learning things every day as well.
Thank you both.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
And you kind of touched on it already, but I guess I don't understand.
Okay.
I was not in satisfactory with financial aid, so I had to pay out of pocket. and I was told that I am approved for the Frontliners, but before I knew that I was approved, I had already set up a payment plan. So how does that work? Or if I can take someone's information down and give them a call tomorrow morning or something like that, and then we can talk about it like that.
Okay.
I guess I just don't understand, and I don't want to take up no one's time.
Well,
No,
for the time being, you're still eligible, you're still getting your future for Frontliners. We are still encouraging you to set up a payment plan in the event that you still have a balance left over.
Okay. And what reason will I have a balance?
Depending on if you charge books, if classes that you register for has their own course fees, not covered by Future for Frontliners, that could be a reason.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I think the most common thing you'll see with those extra fees is going to be material fees for classes, lab and material fees. Those are classes that are not classified as mandatory, or fees that are not classified as mandatory. Whereas by mandatory, they mean that any student who applies and attends would have those fees. So those little specific things to each course would be extra charges.
I have a question.
Mike? Yeah, Jasmine, how can we help you?
So looking at my account, I see that I see what they're going to pay, and it looks like they only covered the tuition. So like the technology fee, the infrastructure fee, the course fee, none of those fees look like they were covered. As I look at my account, it looks like they only awarded me the amount for the actual credit hours. So what fees are considered mandatory? Because wouldn't everybody have a technology fee, infrastructure fee, and registration fee? It doesn't look like they covered any of that.
Yeah, so quickly, I'll jump to Bruce or Mike so they can answer that more officially, but the Frontliners hasn't come in and paid anything yet. So the amount that you see on there is just kind of a tentative amount until after the state pays. But I'll let Mike or Bruce come in, whichever one to take that question and answer the fee portion of that.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike talked a little bit about the census date. That's a snapshot in time during our semester where we calculate the actual eligibility of the award. So it's about 10 days into the semester. We're going to look at your enrollment status, and we're going to look at your charges, and we'll adjust the Frontliners to what your costs are. So we will cover your, it's not just tuition, but contact hours. Then we will cover your mandatory fees. So the technology fee, registration fee, infrastructure fee will all be covered. So we will do that. Now, if you're out of district, those costs will have to be covered by you. So keep that in mind.
Okay, that makes more sense. So I just pretty much just need to wait it out, and then it might change. I might end up not having to pay anything.
Now, if you are looking at your account activity screen, and you'll see your fees listed separately, and you'll see a separate listing for course fees. Now, course fees are the ones that are considered non-mandatory, meaning that not everybody. So those would be the ones that you'd be expecting to be responsible for once everything has been worked out.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in my FAFSA, however you pronounce it, in my FAFSA, I needed to prove that I registered for selective services, and I never did register for selective services because I thought I needed a piece of mail, and my parents told me that I didn't need to or something. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. But now I'm 26 and over, and now I'm not eligible to register. So is there any way that I can still apply for my FAFSA and have it accepted?
You need to contact Selective Service and get a letter of determination. Once you get that letter, send that in to us.
All right. I'm guessing that's on the official site too?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much. That was all.
Thank you. We have a question in the chat from Lexi. How many semesters of tuition does this cover? Lexi, this is a 4-year program. And so as you have to take at least 6 credits each, well, not every semester, but at least 2 semesters out of the academic year in order to stay eligible for this program. So you have essentially up to 4 years.
I need to plug that back in.
Just a reminder, if you guys can put yourself on mute, we would appreciate it so everybody can hear their questions being answered. We do have another question from Mike. What if your parents are separate? Oh, Mike, we answered your question. And Mike, I did put Jody's information in the chat, her email address. So please feel free to shoot her an email and she'll give you some information that you need about the professional judgment.
Yep, thank you about that.
You're welcome. Derek wants to know, who do I get a hold of to get a job verification form sent to my email? Derek, if you log back onto the state's website, there is an option to have that verification form sent to you again, or you can download one, or you can also call the help desk. They have like a customer service line that you will be able to call as well, and then they can resend that form to you.
Okay, quick question. Once I get that job verification form, do I just need to turn that into my job and have them fill it out and then turn it back in to MCC or the official site for Future for Frontliners?
So once you get that paperwork, you want to give it to your job, typically someone in HR probably, they'll fill it out and then they will send or email that to the state of Michigan. And then once they look at that paperwork, they process it, then the state of Michigan will then let us know that that you turned in your paperwork.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Eric and everyone else, please have them email it or fax it to the state, but don't send it in the mail.
And just Jamar had mentioned this earlier, the state is backed up. It's
sounds good.
6 weeks backed up. So make sure if you do if you have a FAFSA that you're missing or a work verification form, you guys fill that out and do it immediately because the state is taking a couple of weeks to process everything. And I think someone was asking a question too.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tiff.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I got in late, so I don't know if you guys covered this part. Will I still be able to get other scholarships with this?
So, Sarah, do you want to cover last dollar?
Yeah, absolutely. So this particular scholarship or funding is what we call last dollar. So what that means is if you have any other type of financial aid, whether that is a grant, a scholarship, any of that money is applied to your account first. So if it's applied to your account first, whatever's left over for your balance will be covered by Future for Frontliners. So for example, let's pretend you owe MCC $4,000. The Pell Grant gave you $2,000. Future for Frontliners would then cover the remaining $2,000. So your balance would be a big fat zero. Let's say you owe us $4,000, you get a scholarship for $1,000, Pell kicks in for $2,000, Future for Frontliners would then cover the remaining $1,000. So that's what they mean by last dollar. So your account balance will always be a zero. If that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
I want to jump in on that for a second. There is a caveat to that because TIP is actually a last dollar program as well, and this actually pays before TIP. So where it gets complicated is, say you have TIP, and let's say your tuition's $1,500. So your Pell Grant's $1,000 and your TIP is $1,000, and you have your F4F scholarship. So if you keep your F4F scholarship, the Pell will pay first for $1,000, and then the F4F is going to pick up the remaining $500. Since that covered your balance, you will not use your TIP. However, if you decide to use TIP instead of the F4F, you've got to decline the F4F scholarship, and you decline it forever, so you'll never receive it again. However, in this scenario, the TIP would pay first for $1,000, Pell would pay for $1,000. Now you've got $2,000 paying off your $1,500 balance, and you got $500 left over for books. So sometimes it gets complicated. If you want to double check with us, contact financial aid office and we can advise you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Tiffany. Someone else was Amber, I think, had a question too.
Yeah, I actually have a couple. So first of all, it goes back to, the scholarship that you guys, I came in a little late. So the scholarship that you were saying cuts off, is that the future for Frontliner scholarship that you were talking that you had to apply for before December 31st? Or was there a different one that y'all were talking about?
That's the one. Yep, just telling
Okay.
people if they haven't applied, then they must do that by December 31st.
Okay, and then second, do we all have to have a job verification? Is that something that is sent in separately? Because I haven't gotten any paper that said I needed that. So is that something regardless that if we have received information to turn that in or not, that we're still going to need to send in?
Nope. So that's specific to certain students. So if you needed that form, the state would have sent you an email letting you know that you need more information. If you didn't receive anything from the state, then you're set.
Okay. And then my next question is, I guess, about financial aid too. The program that I want to go into, I'm, taking placement testing because I want to go into the nursing program and all that figured out. But can I still apply for loans because my work schedule, I don't know what that will look like with classes and to help cover, life, I guess.
Yeah. So you're trying to find out if with the Future for Frontliners, can you still get loans on top of that, correct? You kind of broke up a little bit, so I want to make sure it's in your question. All right, Bruce, do you want to answer the loan question?
Yeah, you can. Loans and work study are considered self-help aid. So that doesn't come into the equation. So you can apply for student loans and still get the F4F scholarship.
Okay. And then is there a cap on how much you can apply for loans? Being that it's a community college, I didn't know if that's different.
It depends if you're a dependent or an independent student, and it depends also if you've got prior debt. And as a community college, you'll never be higher or classified higher than a sophomore. So you can get freshman and sophomore level eligibility in loans.
Bruce, Amber, did that answer all your questions?
You cut out a little bit, but yeah, I'm probably in a yuck zone, so I can't hear completely. At a later date.
You're kind of breaking up. So what I'm going to do, Amber, is I'm going to put financial aid's email in the chat. So you can send them an email or you can give them a call and then they will be able to kind of answer your questions too, because you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm in a dead zone. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Along with what Amber asked for, if we do need the verification for work or whatever you want to call that, how would we retrieve that?
So the state would have sent you an email letting you know that you needed a work verification form and they would have attached it to that email. If that's a requirement for you and you don't have it, you can log back into your portal, the state's portal where you went to apply for the scholarship, and you can download the form from there, or you can call their customer service hotline number and they can re-email you the form too if you need it. Thank you. So someone had asked again about how many semesters does it cover? Again, it's 4 years. So you make sure you're taking at least 6 credit hours per each semester and you will be fine to keep the scholarship as long as you're maintaining above a 2.0.
Stephanie,
I had a question. Oh, sorry.
Hold on one second, Grace. Bruce, go ahead.
The other thing you need to do is to take at least 2 semesters every 12 months. So if you start, say, winter semester, you can take the summer off, but then you'd have to return next fall. So make sure that you continuously are taking classes. You can take 1 semester off though.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, let's see what else we got going on in the chat. Sarah, am I missing any hands up or anything? I don't want to skip over anyone.
You are not missing any hands up. There seems to be a few questions about loans and financial aid, which I believe we covered. And then a few questions about transferring and if the Future for Frontliners goes with you. And then also a few questions about tuition, fees, and also what's the difference between in-district and out-of-district.
All right. Mike, do you want to answer the in-district, out-of-district question?
Sure. So you'd be considered an in-district student if you reside in the county of Muskegon. For the most part, that's pretty obvious. You know that there are a couple of gray areas kind of between county lines. So a good way to look at that is your mailing address within the county of Muskegon. I have a brother who lived in Nunica, and he was technically a Muskegon resident because his address was technically Fruitport, but he was getting so there's some different areas there that might be different. So if you're confused on that, you can always either look at that, or you can always call us and we can verify for you. Another way to look at that is just to look at your tuition bill. You'll see your in-district tuition is going to even out to about $121.50 per contact hour, whereas if you're out of district, your tuition will be charged at $227 a contact hour.
Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
Will financial aid pick that up?
The in-district and out-of-district, the tuition rate, or pick up what part, Tiffany?
The part where where it doesn't get paid, like the out-of-district.
So if you're out of district and you're using Frontliners, they're only going to pay at that in-district rate. So let's say at the end, when you finish, you may still have like a $500 balance. And this is just random numbers. But if you end up having that balance, then that would be your responsibility, because the Frontliners is only covering at that in-district rate for those students that live outside of Muskegon County. Uh-oh, you might be talking, Tiffany, but I think you're on mute. Your box is lit up.
Okay, I kind of don't understand, like, the fees that's left behind, like financial aid or no other scholarship that I might have could pick up that $500.
Nope. So what happens when we, that is a last dollar scholarship. So that is going to be, that along with tip are going to be your last dollar. So any financial aid that you have, any scholarships, that's all going to pay first. And then let's say all of that stuff pays and you have $1,000 balance, but you're out of district. Then the Frontliners is only going to pay towards that balance the in-county rate. So then you will have some balance left over that you would be responsible for covering.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
it's a little tricky, I know, but we're all trying to figure this out together.
Mhm.
And if you have other questions, please feel free to touch base with us. We can definitely look at your account and kind of try to figure out some things if you do live out of county, to figure out what that may look like for you.
Okay.
Okay. Someone had asked about transferring. Can you take the Future for Frontliner scholarship with you? So remember that this is a community college scholarship only. So if you do transfer to another school, you will have to contact the state and change your school of choice, because right now you have MCC listed, hopefully. So if you want to go somewhere else, you would have to change that school with the state. But it does not go to a four-year institution as of now. It's just for community college level.
So if we already have a FAFSA grant and it's going to cover all of the tuition, can we decline using the FAFSA and use the Future for Frontliners so that we can use our FAFSA towards the four-year university part that the Future for Frontliners wouldn't normally cover?
No, you cannot do that. You have to accept your Pell Grant if you're eligible.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what somebody wants to know, Mike, I know you talked about this a little bit, but when does the Future for Frontliners pay for my classes? Do you want to touch on that briefly?
Sure. So there's a lot of confusion there. we use that term a little bit loosely, like this is paying for your classes, where the actual timing of that is much later down the road, where we actually have to go through a billing process and send that to the state and get paid. But we award that money to the account, or I should say Bruce and Jody do. I don't do that. Right at census date, which, as Bruce mentioned, is about 10 days into the semester. That's a point where financial aid will calculate your determine your enrollment at that time, and then calculate the awards based on that. If I can touch on one question that was in the chat here that was also kind of related to this. If you do have a payment plan that's already in place, once that amount is calculated and awarded to your account, that does pay off that balance of your payment plan. Our payment plans are automatically updated with your student account. So if you do have that payment plan and you happen to have made any payments during that time, those payments would get refunded to you at that point. You'd be in a very unique situation if you were in that case, though, because those payment plans aren't automatically starting until well after that calculation happens. But in the case that you do make payments beforehand, I just wanted to note that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Right. So we had a couple questions about.
Question. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I'm a respiratory therapy student at MCC. So I already get a merit-based scholarship at Grand Valley. And usually that money would go over and apply to MCC. If I got the Frontliners for future Frontliners scholarship, would that hinder or prevent me from getting my scholarship from Grand Valley?
Great question. I think either Bruce or Jody should be able to answer that. Are you guys still on?
Yeah, my answer is I'm not sure yet. The state hasn't made a determination. Check with us maybe towards the middle of next week, and we should have more information on that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So we've had a few questions about what happens if I've been denied financial aid. And I've filled out my FAFSA and all that stuff. Can I still get the future for Frontliners?
Yeah, I had answered that individual privately. I guess I should have did it publicly. But yes, if you were denied or have been denied financial aid in the past, depending on the reasons for why you were denied. Prime example, if you are in default on your student loans, no, you cannot get financial aid. And you still cannot get the future for Frontliners. However, if you make too much money, in an instance like that where you do not qualify for any of the free federal student money, then you would still be able to get future for Frontliners.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jamar. That really helps answer that question. So a few people have asked about being a returning student and if everything needs to be resubmitted. And then if Sylvia could talk a little bit about future for Frontliners and how that affects the nursing program.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Hayes. I'm one of the counselors at the Counseling and Advising Center. And I just wanted to let you know if you have any questions regarding classes or if you need help scheduling classes through this whole process, you can drop in. We actually have what they call drop-ins. Our drop-ins are Monday, this coming Monday, we're going to be available from 8:30 to 7. And the rest of the week, next week, we're going to be available 8:30 to 4:30. I'm sorry, 8:30 to 5. And I'm going to put this email or the web link in the chat so that you can see that. And as far as the nursing program, right now we have a lot of students who are in the program and getting awarded Frontliners. And we have some students who are currently on the waiting list and their program code is currently Health Sciences or ASA. And so once they get accepted into the nursing program, then their program code will change. So just be aware of that. Sarah, I wasn't sure if there was another question that you had that I didn't answer, but in these drop-ins, you can basically meet with a counselor individually. There is sometimes a wait, but this week people have not had to wait very long. There's about 7 or 8 counselors working, and you're taken into a private chat room so that you and the counselor are just meeting and they can help you individually.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks so much, Sylvia. So yeah, those are a huge asset to have. And then Patrick, you had a question?
I'm sorry. Question about the in-district, out-of-district rate. The campus I was looking at is in Ottawa County. So I'm not sure, maybe that's too specific a question.
So you're, if I'm understanding you correctly, so you're looking at attending classes at the Ottawa Center?
Right.
Right. So that is still Muskegon Community College. So it does still apply if you reside outside of the college. If you live in the district and you're attending one of the extension centers, that still applies. You still get our in-district tuition. But it's all based on your residence, and that kind of it factors out of property taxes. So it's really just a matter of your residence. So regardless of where our classes are located, that rate still applies.
So Ottawa County has no community college. So there is in fact no future for Frontliners. Reimbursement for education for people that live in Ottawa County is what it boils down to. Right.
There is. It's just not. It's limited to the in-district rate of the college that you're attending.
But there is no in-district rate for Ottawa County.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish the state would have considered that. I understand your frustration with that. And currently, about 20% of the state's residents don't have a local community college.
Right.
So I understand. Hopefully, that's reconsidered moving forward. This is still brand new, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Patrick. And I appreciate you bringing that up because I'm sure a lot of people have the same questions. So it looks like a lot of the same questions were kind of answered. Did any of those questions not get answered? Does anyone have anything else that they would like to ask? Now is
I do.
Absolutely. Grace, have at it.
Okay. Hi. So my question was I think you sort of answered it, but so I received the postcard in the mail that says, congratulations, you've been accepted to the Futures for Frontliners. What do my next steps have to be? Do I have to do anything? That's kind of my first question.
It's a great question. Nicole or Ashley, do you guys want to cover that?
Yeah, sure. So Ashley and I are admissions representatives here at MCC. We haven't been able to give you guys the next steps quite yet, but we have a super simple checklist for getting started with us. So if you've submitted your application with us, you've sent us your transcript, and you've done your FAFSA, then you're really set to get started with like the registration process and meeting with counselors. So it's super easy, and we'll briefly go over it. Step 1 is the application and submitting your transcripts. Step 2 is completing that FAFSA. So if you're in the Futures for Frontliners program, that is a required step. We have FAFSA Fridays. Our admissions reps are available to help you complete that FAFSA if you have questions about it. We have financial aid assistance on with us tonight. So if you have questions about that, we can go into even more detail than we already have. And then our third step is testing. And so with testing, it's been waived actually, which is why it's so important for you to meet with a counselor before you register yourself for classes. And then Ashley, I'll go ahead and let you take over.
Thank you, Nicole. So after getting, because testing is waived, the next step would be to go to new student orientation, which is a great way for you to get acclimated with MCC, our processes, and help you succeed with your classes. Sarah is actually our orientation specialist. So if you do have any specific questions about orientation, please do let us know. And like Nicole said, it is really important for you to meet with a counselor to pick out those classes because we want to make sure that you're taking the appropriate classes for your program so that we can maximize your dollars there. And that's actually the 5th step. And then the 6th step is just to register for classes. You will learn how to register for classes in orientation, but if you have questions, there is always someone available, whether it be myself, Nicole, Sarah, or the registration office.
I have a question. I'm wondering if the Futures for Frontliners, does that still only cover people who worked on the front line from April to a certain time, or does it still count, or does it count for people who are working on the front lines currently? Just wondering out of curiosity.
Well, the letter of the law, according to Future for Frontliners, it's applying to those individuals that worked during the pandemic when it first happened. So that March to June, July timeframe.
Awesome. Perfect. Lots of great questions. If you do have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, unmute yourself. It looks like a few people have unmuted themselves.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
So Sylvia said they had drop-ins on Monday from 8:30 to 7 p. Is that coming to the college?
It is.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
So
good
what is the
question. Sorry. If you click on the link, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a link on the chat. If you click on it, there's actual another link to the virtual drop-ins. So it is not on the college campus, but we'll meet like this, like we're meeting right now.
And if you can't find the link, just head to our main website, search counseling in the search bar, and click on their webpage, and there's the link right there for you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did have another question. Sorry, I wasn't quite done. My question was, so about, I've received my postcard in the mail and whatnot. I didn't want to interrupt when she was talking about it, but I'm already enrolled. Like I have been at MCC for 2 years now. Like I'm doing my nursing prerequisites and I'm currently on the wait list. So that's kind of what I was wondering. So I received my postcard, and then because of me already being enrolled, what my next steps should be.
Nothing much. So you're proceeding as usual. There's nothing extra that you need to do. Just make sure, I'm pretty sure you were awarded. You've already applied for financial aid, been awarded. You know you're eligible for Future for Frontliners. You're already enrolled. You've already done the other enrollment steps. So you're just proceeding as normal.
Okay. Gotcha. Perfect. I think it makes sense now. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question if it's not speaking before anybody that was waiting ahead of me.
Nope, you're good, Ms.
You have
Kayla.
the floor.
Okay. So I'm taking my last prerequisite for the nursing program this upcoming semester. And after that, I will have no necessary classes need to be taken. So I know you're supposed to take at least 12 credits throughout the year. So what will happen if after this semester where I'm in my 6 credits, if I don't take those 12 credits because there's nothing left for me to take? Will I lose the Futures for Frontliners because I'm waiting?
That is a great question. I'm not sure if Sylvia or Bruce is able to answer that.
I'm getting a lot of those questions, so I'm curious as to how that works as well, because I know we have a lot of students who take classes for the RN to BSN program.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually refer those to Stephanie, or so I don't know if anybody knows the answer to that question. Can they take a class outside their program?
Bruce, are you still on? Can you kind of speak to
I would say the best thing to do is to call the state and ask for their advice. They're making up rules as we go, as they see different scenarios. So I would take that question and call the state and see what they say.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, is that number that you just put into the chat the number I would call for the state to ask about that?
It is not. It's actually for anyone who's having issues with their MyMCC, but I'm more than happy to look up that number for you if you would like.
Okay, yes, I would greatly appreciate that. It's just I don't want to start and then be left without being able to use it in the future when there's nothing I can do about it.
Right. All right, perfect. So I will look that up and pop that in the chat if anyone else is interested in that. I did see a couple other people who've unmuted themselves, so feel free to speak and ask your questions.
I have a
Sarah, Sarah, I'll go ahead and put that number in there. I know it off the top of my head. Put it in there.
All right, Ms. Liz, what question did you have for us today?
So my question is about transcripts from previous college work. I haven't received an email. It said that they were looking at them, that they were going to send that information to my CC.
And, you know, I'm not going to tell you how long ago those classes were. So I'm not even expecting, but if by chance they, you know, would take a couple classes that I've taken previously, that would be great. But when will I find out that information?
So you're asking, when will you find out if your college transcripts have been processed?
Correct.
It's a great question. I wish I had a very solid answer for you on that one. It's going to greatly vary. It depends on how many they've received, how many they're processing currently. A great resource to talk to is our Office of the Registrar. They're the ones who handled those transcripts.
Okay, I have put out an email to them, but I haven't heard anything back. So I'll try it again.
All right, sounds good. Bruce is typing furiously.
Yeah. Liz, I just want to make a comment as well. Sylvia from counseling. Sometimes what happens is, do those transcripts come from out of state? Because sometimes it takes a little while longer to evaluate them.
Yeah, it indicated that they were sent like the end of October.
Okay, but we're showing that we haven't received them, or you don't even know?
I don't even know. I went into the counseling
drop-ins.
Yeah, drop in on Monday, and she wasn't able to answer my question either.
Okay. I will private message you my email, and maybe you can email me and I'll look for you, okay?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so somebody had a question about if their future for Frontliner will cover into 2022. So it sounds like people are kind of curious how long this future for Frontliners will be applied to their account.
Sarah, I can take it. So again, remember that you have 4 years to use this scholarship. And you have to take at least 2 semesters out of the 3. Okay, so you can take summer off or take fall off or take winter, but you have to enroll for those other 2. So 4 years from when you start the program, which will be in 2021.
Okay, so my question was really about, because I have an odd number of classes left, I only have 5 classes left to finish, but it's requiring you to take 6 credits per semester. So in 2022, I will only have 3 more credits to take to finish my degree, but will I have to take 6 credits? And will, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yep, got you. So right now, according to what they have, you have to take 6 credit hours. I mean, that could change later on. They could give us more directive, but as of now, you would have to be enrolled in 6 credit hours. So that would be the time that you need to talk to a counselor to kind of see if you have any options or financial aid to see if there's some wiggle room. But if not right now, again, and I want to stress right now because things could definitely change.
Okay, we'll wait until we get there then to cross that bridge.
Yes, and hopefully we'll be having, I know financial aid is getting information from the state all the time, so hopefully we'll have some more information, you know, in the coming weeks or months, but they're kind of doing this as we are, so.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So we have a question from Facebook about the respiratory therapy students at GVSU who are here at MCC. Sounds like we have a lot of them, which is awesome. Bruce or Jody, do you guys want to talk a little bit about maybe who they can contact? A couple people are just wondering who they should contact about that sort of thing.
Well, I have sent in a message to the state of Michigan, haven't heard back yet. So you can touch base with me, say next week. Just shoot me an email and I will share with you what I find out.
Awesome. Thank you. Hopefully that was able to answer that question. So somebody's asking if they have classes sitting in their cart right now and they have a balance to pay, should they, and they've been accepted to Future for Frontliner, should they pay for the classes now and be refunded later? So I don't know, Mike, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So the solid answer is it depends. So if your Futures for Frontliners award is showing on your account, you won't need to set up a payment plan. If, as we said before, there will be fees that are possibly going to be there that you'll owe. That you'll have to resolve in some way. So a payment plan is a really good option to do that. But as long as that award is there, you're not going to be dropped from your classes for non-payment. That being said, if you do see that you're going to have some fees that you're going to need to handle, the payment plan is a good way to manage that over a number of payments without incurring any problems. If you don't see that award on your account, then yes, absolutely set up that payment plan. That will still give you that deferred start date for your payment plan, but then that gives us time to sort out anything that may be missing that's keeping that award from being posted to your account yet. So definitely just kind of make sure that you have that award before you make that choice.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mike. And then the last kind of question we're going to answer here, as we're kind of wrapping up. A few students have had $1 listed on their award letter, so they're a little confused about what that means. So if somebody could touch on the Future for Frontliners being a placeholder and what that looks like on their award letter, that would be amazing. So I don't know if Judy or Jody or Bruce wants to talk about that.
What that $1 award means is your financial aid file was not complete when we reviewed it. So you should go to your MyMCC account, go to your financial aid checklist, look for any missing items. If you've just recently turned in all your documents, when we do review your file, we will adjust that award. So the $1 means that we understand that you were awarded, but we need some additional documents. So double check your MyMCC financial aid checklist, make sure that your file complete.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bruce. And shout out to Rachel with your amazing instructions for your MyMCC. She's absolutely correct. So Stephanie, did you want to go ahead and wrap us up?
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys so very much for coming out today. We really appreciate it. If you have any last minute questions, please feel free to unmute yourself right now and ask those questions real quick.
I do have one more question. I'm sorry, I apologize. So I'm taking the placement testing to try and see what classes I would need before I can apply for the nursing program. So my understanding is it even that essential to do so if I need to take 6 credits a semester anyway? I mean, should I not be that concerned about where I place? Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Like just starting from ground zero, would that still give me enough time?
I would recommend going ahead and taking those placement tests because it could save you a lot of time. And then you might, if you don't, you're going to end up taking classes that you're going to like, okay, why am I here? This is too easy. So definitely take those placement tests and get into the right classes that you need.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I want to echo that sentiment that Sylvia laid out.
Awesome. Looks great.
All right. Thank you guys so very much. I know we're getting at 6 o'clock here. We're a little over, but we want to be respectful of your time as well. And so if you are set to go, please feel free to log off. But if you still have some follow-up questions, we'll stay on for a couple extra minutes just to answer those questions for you. We really appreciate it, you guys. This is a fluid program. As I say, we're still learning every day, trying to figure out how to do this the best way we possibly can. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. All of our contact information will be in the chat. We'll put it on Facebook, and then feel free to contact any of our departments to be able to get those questions answered. We appreciate you guys so very much for coming tonight.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. Since I was driving, where do I find the links? Like, will this Zoom meeting be emailed, or how do I find it on Facebook, I guess, to find the links that you guys are posting to everything?
So we will have it on Facebook Live. So if you go to our MCC account, so if you just go to Facebook, type in Muskegon Community College or Muskegon CC, it'll pop up for you. That is a great idea. You did give me a great idea to send this in email. So I may do that as well too, to send out an email to everybody so that you guys can have this recording as well too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the suggestion.
Multitasking.
Yes. All right. Well, again, thank you guys so very much. Again, if you have any last minute questions, we are here. We will stay on. But for those of you that are set, please feel free to log off. And we hope you have an amazing night. And thank you for being a Jayhawk. We appreciate it.
Thank you. This was great.